Okay, so let's start off with finding out what the key points are going to be for cosine. Remember that cosine values are the x values. We're going to use the same angles that we did for sine, but now we're just using the x values instead. So we have the angle on one side, and we're going to have the cosine value on the other. So we're going to start with 0, but now we're going to use the value of 1. And then at pi over 2, we're going to go to 0. At pi, we'll be at, negative 1. And at 3 pi over 2, we'll be at 0 again. And then at 2 pi, we're back to 1. So the same values over here, they're just offset a little bit. When you plot those values, you get this graph here. Notice that we have the same general shape, but instead we're starting up at 1. Then we hit 0. At the halfway point, now we're at our lowest. And all the way at the complete cycle, one full period, we're back right here. One full period, we're back up at the top. So high, cross over the axis, low, cross over the axis, high again. Same transformation rules apply. You can read through these here, pause if you want to take some notes on this. I'm going to do two examples, one that's going to change amplitude and period, and one that's going to change do some shifting. So like I did with sine graphs, I'm going to start off with the parent function, and I'm going to keep it close in because I see I'm going to be changing my amplitude. So this time I start off high, and I'm going to end up here. My low point is going to be halfway, and then I cross over at those halves. And I'm going to try to keep this as smooth as I can so it resembles the sine curve, a piece of it just shifted off. And now I'm going to do the period change. So let's look at what the b value is. So we have a b value of 2, which means 2 times whatever the period is should equal 2 pi. So 2 times what equals 2 pi? The period must be just pi. So I'm going to switch colors here so we can see. Now I'm going to start here, but now I need to squish everything in between 0 and 1 pi. So at the halfway point, I'm going to hit my lowest, cross over at those quarter way points, and then there's my graph. Let me see if I can try to smooth that out a little bit. And now I'm going to do the amplitude change. My A value is 3, so everything's going to be stretched vertically by a factor of 3. So we're going to go all the way up to here, down to here, back up. I still cross at the same points. I'm just going to try to keep this nice and smooth. And the graph would continue. I would hit another point here. And so this would be 2 complete cycles. So a quick example of doing vertical shifts and phase shifts. Start off with the parent function. I'm going to keep this one dotted because I know I'm going to be right on top of it. I'm going to have a horizontal shift of pi over 2, and if the C value is positive, I'm going to be shifting actually in the negative direction. My D value is also positive, so I'm going to be shifting upwards. So the first step, shift everything over to the left. Make this one dotted again. And now I'm going to shift everything up 1. And then my final graph is right here. And it would keep going in both directions. So that's it. If you have any questions, don't forget to write them down and bring them in to write on the chalkboard. We'll be doing some practice with cosine graphs and shifting and stretching, so make sure you know what A, B, C, and D do to the graph and have a good idea of what the cosine parent function looks like.